Hello, Classic Crew, and welcome to today's video where we're going to be talking about the speech I gave on Friday, all about how to dress like a lady. This past Friday, I gave a speech for the Claire Booth Luce Center for Conservative Women, and it was so wonderful getting to speak about why it's so important to present yourself well, how to present yourself well, and why this fits in with conservative values. Here on my channel, we talk about commentary, lifestyle, beauty, fashion, and opera, all from a conservative perspective, so make sure to subscribe if that's something that you'd be interested in. I know that some people might disagree with the idea that dressing well and presenting yourself well is a conservative concept, but it is. And I go into it in this speech quite a bit, and I really was excited to share it with you because number one, it talks about why presenting yourself well means accepting reality, and number two, I actually give practical tips on how to present yourself well and to look your best. So I'm really excited to share some highlights from this speech with you today. If you're interested in hearing this speech in its entirety, feel free to reach out to my professional email. It's in the description box below, and I can come and speak at your college or through Zoom. Make sure to reach out if that's something that you'd be interested in. Now let's get into today's video. The way you present yourself is so important for so many reasons. And as young conservative women, presenting yourself well goes hand in hand with the way we view the world. Dressing well and looking presentable is not vain or superficial. It's smart. You only have one chance to make a first impression. And if you know how to dress and do your hair and makeup, you have a much better chance of letting someone get to know the best version of you. When I was in my last year at my all-girls Jewish high school, and in my first years of college at the University of Southern California, and dressing at my most modest, I was still not the most modest girl in my Jewish community. I was somewhere in the middle. Essentially, more observant women will wear shirts that cover their elbows and shirts that cover their collarbones, as well as skirts that come far below their knees. I followed more basic modesty rules. I covered my shoulders, but I wore short sleeves. I covered my cleavage, but not my collarbones. And I wore skirts that came to the middle of my knees, not below. I remember going to a Jewish event and being confused as to why the men I was interested in didn't seem to be interested in me. They were more interested in my other friends who did, in fact, dress more modestly than I did. Here's the interesting thing. These friends that dressed more modestly were actually less observant in other areas of their lives. Religious Judaism has laws for behavior that cover every part of life. I was keeping other laws more stringently, while they were not. But our clothing told a different story. So as you might imagine, the men that I was interested in were not expressing their interest in me because they were looking for more religiously observant women to date and marry. And I did not appear to fit the bill, while those other girls did. My mistake at the time was not being deliberate with how I presented myself and making sure that how I appeared to others was consistent with who I actually was and what I valued. There are so many things that can be implied and inferred about who you are by the way that you dress. Is that always fair? No, and it can be frustrating to be on the wrong end of someone's misperception. But here's where being a conservative fits in with all of this. A core part of our worldview is that we accept reality for what it is and take responsibility for doing something about it. We understand that even though you may not like that you have to dress in a certain way to get a certain response, that doesn't change the facts. The way that you dress can and will affect the interactions that you have with people, and can, if you work with that reality, raise the chances of getting you what you want. The left will decry that we judge people by the way that they look, dress, and carry themselves, as if they can stop people from doing it with enough complaints. But ultimately, the importance of appearance is inevitable and a very important part of being human. Having standards is natural, normal, and useful. But as with anything, there can be bad standards. There can be standards that we should try and change. If, for example, extremely underweight women were considered the ideal figure and young women were encouraged to engage in self-harming behaviors, that's a bad standard. Beauty shouldn't be an idol that comes at the direct expense of health and other vital things in life. Instead, it should be an expression of health and good, joyous living. But the left conflates all standards with bad standards. To them, the existence of standards at all is bad, and we should get rid of them. The idea that someone is more attractive when they've put in effort into their appearance rather than when they haven't tried at all is a good standard. It encourages people to take care of themselves physically and mentally. It encourages people to respect others by bringing an elevated version of themselves to the table. Despite the importance of standards that encourage the best of people out of respect for themselves and for others, the left still rails against all standards. Leftists love the narrative of accepting who we are, where we are at, and not improving. They believe that you don't need to change to fit societal pressures because their entire narrative is that our current society is evil and its standards are terrible. And that's why they have a right to tear it down and start again. In their eyes, all societal pressures can do is oppress and harm people. The left says this because it wants the moral authority and mandate to take control of everything and remake it all in its own image. Just one small part of this philosophy is the attempt to say that standards for your appearance, just like standards for anything else, are created by society and oppressive. In reality, people are visual and will immediately judge you for your appearance, and that's not a bad thing. Judgment is natural and necessary. We do it all the time and for everything. Taking care of yourself, taking care of your looks, taking care to dress in a way that is flattering to your figure isn't wrong, doesn't hurt anyone, doesn't hurt you, and will actually make you feel better. That's the big dirty secret. So how do you know what you want to portray through your appearance? Well, style isn't simply superficial. There's a huge difference between fashion and style. Fashion is following the trends, dressing the way others are dressing, or buying clothing because you think it should look good on you, regardless of whether or not it does. Style, though, is something that lets you express who you are and embrace your personality. And to have style, guess what? You actually have to know yourself. You have to know who you are. You have to know what you want to portray. You have to know what you want. And these aren't small things. These are great, big, important things. And in a way, figuring out your style is an awesome way to figure out the answers to these questions. All of this is to say that dressing well is incredibly important. And as young conservative women in 2021, we have all been disadvantaged by the media and movies we have imbibed throughout our formative years, which are brewed up by the same left that wants to tear down all standards, whether they be good or bad. The most direct way to influence young women is to put ideas into films and shows that we love. And when we do love them, we so often don't even realize the indoctrination that is happening to us. We haven't been taught how to dress appropriately. We have been told that we can dress however we want with no regard for others, and we haven't been given the rules for how to improve our lives, starting with and through our appearances. But that's where what we're doing today comes in. Today, I've got you covered. So let's start by talking about some basic tips. Number 1, whiten your teeth. Having white teeth is so important to looking your best. If your teeth look stained, your smile, which should be something that makes you look even more beautiful, will be marred, and nobody wants that. Yellow teeth aren't a difficult fix, but they are something that require you to notice and take action. It's very difficult to talk to a friend about bodily issues, even if you're trying to help, like yellow teeth or body odor. So that's why I'm including it here. Make sure to check this for yourself. Don't rely on friends to tell you because they probably won't out of fear of offending you. If your teeth are looking a little yellow, there are a ton of healthy and safe options to make your teeth look great. I personally use a 2-step toothpaste system by Crest that has a whitening agent, and that keeps my teeth as white as I like them. I have pretty sensitive teeth, so using the Crest White Strips is not the best option for me, but you can use those too, because those are much easier and very fast. Number 10, figuring out what styles actually work for your body. Last but not least, figure out what looks good on you. So many women don't know what actually looks good on their bodies and try to follow those fashion trends I mentioned earlier. But wearing clothing that actually works with your body is the most classic thing a woman can do. And it means accepting the body you have and loving it for what it is. The hardest thing is trying to look like someone who is structurally built different than you are. Of course, nothing that looks good on that person will look good on you. But there are women who have body types just like yours that also look fantastic. There are a bunch of different articles on the internet about dressing for your body type, but one of the things I really recommend is finding a celebrity who has a similar body type to your own. Take a look at the outfits they choose that accentuate their figures and take a lesson from them. So now that we have dealt with the basics of grooming, let's move on to the different scenarios that you will be dressing for. Professional setting versus casual and dating. It's obvious that what you would wear to the office is often something that you would never wear hanging out with friends. But I think the confusion has now become that people are wearing what they would wear to hang out with friends to the office. Of course, finding out your office's dress code is important, and wearing something very dressy to a casual workplace would be its own faux pas. But many offices do require professional dressing, and in that situation, you should know what to wear to present yourself well. Professional office attire is meant to accomplish a few different things, but one thing primarily: showing that you are capable and good at what you do. Dressing well and appropriately shows people that they can trust you and that you have it figured out. And that inspires confidence from your boss, who trusts you can get the job done, and your clients, if you have them, who you're working for. Dressing poorly, on the other hand, whether that be through slovenliness, ill-fitting clothing, or inappropriate and immodest outfits, shows the opposite. It implies you don't take care of yourself, which would make it difficult for you to take care of your job. You don't know how to dress your body, which shows a lack of self-awareness, or you don't respect the work you're doing or the people around you, which shows a lackadaisical approach to your work. Now that we've discussed how to dress professionally, let's talk about how to dress casually and how to make the best first impression in your dating life. I think a lot of women in today's day and age get caught up in the idea of trying to attract a man's attention by showing a lot of skin. It's an easy way to have a man take an interest in you. But the fact of the matter is, it's the wrong kind of interest. If you are dressing ostentatiously to attract a man, it sends all the wrong signals and you won't end up getting the attention of the kind of man you are looking for. The way that you dress inherently reflects your values and your character. If you choose to wear something revealing, it will give off the impression that you are comfortable sharing your body with anyone and everyone. If, though, you respect your body enough to keep it for yourself and your future husband, recognizing that your worth as a woman has more to do with what you do than what your body looks like, men will be encouraged to respect you, too. If you dress modestly, classically, and attractively, men who share your values will be attracted to you. The kind of men you are looking for will subconsciously or consciously be attracted to you because they see someone with whom they are compatible. Now, one thing I do want to get out of the way is that men are visual. This works for and against us. This is a disadvantage if you try and show off your body and he is entirely distracted by what you look like and doesn't try to get to know you. But there is also an advantage to this. You can dress in an attractive way that makes him interested, but also lets him know that you are more than just your looks. It is incredibly important to dress well and put your best foot forward when meeting a man. I am not here to recommend that you wear a burlap sack so he doesn't look at you at all. The point is that you want a man to notice that you are attractive as the first step to getting to know you, not the entire activity of getting to know you. Who would have thought that taking care of your body, dressing well, and presenting yourself beautifully would be considered controversial in 2021? I have constantly been surprised by how many people take offense to the idea that women should take care of their bodies, should dress well, should do anything. But there are things everyone should do. And recognizing that simply lying in a heap on your sofa is unacceptable should not be breaking news. The thing is, at the end of the day, you can make taking care of your appearance fun. I absolutely love the process of getting dressed and ready for an evening out, or even just for work. I like picking out clothing, doing my hair, doing my makeup, and picking out a fun pair of shoes at the last minute. These are beautiful parts of being a woman, and they allow us to embrace our femininity. Honestly, they can bring you so much joy. In this way, Women are natural artists, and we can and should treat ourselves as art. I hope you enjoyed those highlights from my speech. This is something I care about a lot, and it's something that I take a really strong interest in. So I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments about what I was talking about. Make sure to let me know what you think is a really important aspect of presenting yourself well. Thank you so much for watching today's video. Please subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. It makes a huge difference when you do. And make sure to hit that notification bell so you get notified of all my new videos. Head to the description box and sign up for my newsletter if you'd like to get a little dose of classic into your inbox just twice a month. Feel free to follow me on all social media at Classically Abby. It's at Classically Abby on Twitter, Instagram, Pinterest, Facebook, really absolutely everywhere. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye!